Hey, good evening, everybody. It is a Wednesday, over the hump, and you're watching 270 Weather, weather for the 270 area code and beyond. I'm Chris Allen, and of course, I'm going to start with what's going on at the moment. Of course, nothing happening really on radar. It's been one of those days where we've seen a little bit of shower activity. You can see most of it now southeast of Nashville and moving off to the east. And we've got our weak little cold front that's back here to the west, which is about to move into western Kentucky. Let's take a look at the weather camera live here at 6:51 p.m. from Gage, Kentucky. And you can see the skies have cleared. All those little white dots are stars. Pretty nice. It was a nice sunset, too. I wish I'd have caught it a little sooner. Let's go down to I 65, showing traffic moving along. This is near the Bethel Road exit as you're heading down toward Nashville. Of course, you can't see in the weather that's going on there with those traffic cameras, but here is a Hazcam from Litchfield up in Grayson County, where the current temperature is 60 degrees, got a southwest wind at 8, and it looks like low clouds and maybe even a little fog. Some places may get fog tonight if your skies begin to clear. Otherwise, it's going to stay clear to partly cloudy. Metro Louisville right now showing 62 degrees and a south wind at 9. It's a really mild evening across the area. That's very nice. Go over to Moorhead, Kentucky, and they had some. They're still getting like a little bit of rain. Looks like, yeah, that's a little drips of rain coming through, and the rain is about done in the eastern part of the state. You go down further toward the Nashville area, and it's a few wet roads, but everything is drying out down that way. All right, let's go from this to I want to look at the severe weather threat, of course, and I'll zoom out here because the severe weather threat takes up a lot of territory. Now, this is the threat this evening as that little cold front you saw back west begins to move across parts of southeastern Kentucky and middle Tennessee. This is just an ordinary garden variety general thunderstorm risk for this evening. Nothing that's going to be any big deal. But as we go into day 2, which is tomorrow, your Thursday, here is the latest update. And you can see the level 2 slight risk takes in much of central and southern Indiana, a little bit of western Ohio, parts of central and eastern Illinois and southern Illinois, down the Wabash River, which is right there, and then just a little piece of northwestern Kentucky, right along the Ohio River. This has shifted a little bit and a little bit further north. And then this little divot right here at the end of the Wabash River, southwest of Evansville, down to where Illinois meets Kentucky, that little curve, that little divot was added because it looks like things may initiate or start tomorrow afternoon around southern Illinois and then push north and east into Indiana. So the areas included here in Kentucky, you can see that you got Louisville, maybe Frankfort in the level 2. Then you've got Owensboro, Evansville, Henderson, and then really you would also include Paducah. Then you got Radcliffe. I mean, just a few of the towns that show up right there. Now, of course, as you know, if you've watched me for any length of time, you know that weather does not follow straight lines. So to outline it in such a straight line as what you're seeing here is probably not reality, but it gives us kind of an outline of where we think the worst storms might be. And even that is not that big of a threat. I think the better chance for tornadoes is going to be north of this area. In fact, here is the tornado outlook for tomorrow. And if you go Owensboro or the Ohio River north, you're talking about a 5% tornado risk, which is low. Down here where we are, it's a 2% tornado risk. We never put zero. It's close to zero, but 2% is really the lowest we can go for a tornado threat. And it's that way because if you think it's zero, then you're not going to be looking for the possibility. But there is a 2% risk or possibility that there could even be something spinning up down here in southern Kentucky. Although the percentage of risk is very low. What about damaging wind? Well, that area expands a little more. In the Bowling Green area, there's a 5% chance of damaging wind, but then you go up here again to along the Ohio and Wabash rivers, you're talking about a 15% damaging wind risk for tomorrow. How about hail? Well, there's that bit of hail that's possible, and this because where the storms initiate and then move off to the north and east, the environment here is going to be better to produce those kind of severe storms that could produce potentially damaging wind, some large hail, and maybe, yes, even a tornado. So that is why you're seeing what you're seeing. Now, how about the rain chances? Rain chances, I still don't think we're going to see all that much for the next couple of days. Maybe a tenth of an inch in Bowling Green. There could be a couple of places north, 3/10 to a half inch. We go days 1 through 3, not much changes. Days 1 through 5, nothing changes. Days 1 through 7, it kind of changes, but not much. We're just not. This is the thing that caught my attention yesterday. As one of the main ingredients you got to have severe weather is moisture. Now we're going to have wind, shear, low-level jet, upper winds, winds at the surface going from the south and west, and then upper winds coming in from the south and east. And that naturally causes a potential spin in the atmosphere. But it's not a guarantee, and even with very little in the way of instability or moisture, you can still get potentially some strong to severe storms. So I can't discount the threat at all. Not yet. I mean, the potential is still going to be there as we head into tomorrow afternoon and evening. What you're looking at right now is the NAM, which stands for North American Model. This is one of the models looking at potentially the timing of the system coming through tomorrow and the development of thunderstorms. So here we're looking at midnight tonight. There may be some showers that linger over the southern half of Kentucky, from Bowling Green, well, really east of Bowling Green, to Somerset, to London, to Hazard and Pikeville, and then even down around the Nashville area. So you can see that overnight, here's 1 a.m., you go 2 a.m., there could be a couple of little clusters of showers and perhaps a rumble of thunder as we get into the early morning hours tomorrow. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 a.m., but this is not associated with the main front. This is all ahead of it. Here we go, 8, 9, 10. Now, we'll show you that by 10 o'clock in the morning, we're still looking at these little clusters of light to moderate rain showers east of Bowling Green. And then we see all of this starting to initiate outside of St. Louis. So here we go to 11, and then 12 noon, 1. Now you're starting to see a little better activity up here, getting a little more active just outside of St. Louis into central and southern Illinois. And here we go, 2 p.m. tomorrow, 3, 4, 5. Now we're talking a little better clusters of thunderstorms, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock tomorrow night, 11, then midnight tomorrow night. Now, what's going to happen here, and the North American model, or the NAM, picks up on this, a couple of lines of thunderstorms coming through, or at least rain showers, maybe some thunder. But here's the thing, and I noticed this yesterday when I was looking at different runs from different models. They were all kind of painting in some of this moisture for tomorrow afternoon and evening, but none of them really stood out as far as this is going to be a big deal. It still does not look like it's going to be a big deal. Not for us in southern Kentucky. A couple of little lines of showers will come through, but we're talking late night, like midnight. And any instability is gone. It's after dark. It's a good 6 hours after dark. These things, a lot of the moisture just gets cut off, or it gets stunted, if you will, like just cut off. It just gets cut off. Down on the southern end, the stronger end of this system is going to be up here where the low pressure system is and where the warm front meets up with the cold front. And around that low pressure system up into Indiana, Ohio, maybe eastern Illinois, that's where the potential for the better thunderstorms is going to exist during the day tomorrow. So what we're seeing is the evolution of some of that taking off northeast of us, but not so much in the Bowling Green area. I'm just not in the 270 itself. I don't think we're going to see very much in the way of any kind of severe weather. There could be 1 or 2 little threats as far as a stronger storm. But as far as this being a big deal, pace the floor up all night kind of a deal, this does not look like that for us. Maybe somebody else north of us, but not here. I'll explore more on that in just a moment. Right now, let's get to our current conditions. here at 7:05. If you're just joining us for this Wednesday night podcast, temperatures at the moment are in the upper 50s to low 60s. We had highs today in the low 60s, even close to the mid 60s, and where we had more sun back into western Kentucky, we even had upper 60s and right around 70. In fact, Beaver Dam, Hartford area, got up to 70 for a high temperature today. We started, though, with lows in the mid 50s and upper 50s, which is pretty much where we are right now. Rainfall amounts, what we did get today was either sprinkles, a brief rain shower, but it was really hardly anything to even measure or account for. But 1/100th of an inch did fall at the Corvette plant earlier, 4/100ths of an inch of rain at Western's Ag Expo Center, 2/100ths in Franklin, 4/100ths in Scottsville, 2/100ths in Glasgow, 7/100ths in Edmonton, and then you got 1/100ths kind of up here, Campbellsville, Greensburg. Some of you did pick up some drizzle, but a lot of it was just confined to Bowling Green and any location east. That's where most of any rainfall fell today, but whatever fell was just enough to turn on your wipers for a little bit, and then it was gone. The winds, they are mostly out of the south, 5 to 10, and they've been that way all day. We've had some pretty decent wind gusts today. In fact, here are the highest or peak wind gusts today since midnight. 23, 23, 28, 29, 33, a 33 mile per hour gust today at some point in Hopkinsville. So there were some 20 and 30 mile per hour gusts of wind today. And we're going to get more wind tomorrow. Pretty much a guarantee as the system moves through. All right, let's talk about the systems and how this is all going to look on a map and how it's going to time out for everybody. So here we go with the here and now. Here's Bowling Green. Here's southern Kentucky. Here's middle Tennessee. And here comes our first little cold front. And out ahead of it are these light rain showers. Some of this will kind of hang around southeastern Kentucky, as you can see overnight. Tonight, this is midnight. Where we're not getting rain and where the skies have cleared somewhat, that's where you're going to get a setup for fog. Here we go to 6 a.m. tomorrow. Leftovers, the moisture that's here in place in wake of this first front. We're going to see a few rain showers early tomorrow morning. Now, what's tripping this or activating these showers? Low-level jet energy. The jet energy is strong enough to provide a little bit of lift and just enough leftover moisture to wring out the atmosphere of some light rain showers as you get up in the morning and you get ready to go to work or school or wherever you're going. So this is 6 a.m. in the morning. Now, as the day progresses, the winds will pick up with the moving in of the low pressure system that's back here in Missouri and Kansas, and it's approaching. Here we go from 6 a.m. to noon. Now, by noontime, much of the area should begin to see at least a few scattered showers. Nothing intense. Okay, the intensity of the wind and the storms really won't come until this low pressure center moves a little bit closer, moves into Illinois and moves closer to the Wabash River Valley and then up into parts of Illinois and Indiana. That will happen between 12 noon and 6 p.m. tomorrow evening. Now you see the darker green painted in with a better chance of thunderstorms. Not everybody's going to get a storm tomorrow. I want you to know this. Not all of you are guaranteed a storm tomorrow. These are going to be in little clusters. And I think the main part of this system is, again, going to be up here to the north of us, where there is better potential north of the Ohio River for stronger storms. Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, or at least western Ohio. So here comes our low. It deepens. It gets stronger. 995 millibar. Here we go, 6 a.m. Friday, and it's out of here. This is the one of the good things about this system is that it's fast moving. So this thing's not going to hang around long enough to do a whole lot of damage as far as terrible storms, tornadoes. It's not going to have time to do all that stuff. So there may be a little spin here and there, maybe a strong storm here and there, but again, this does not show any high confidence of something that's going to be a big deal. It just doesn't. So the colder air starts moving in on Friday. Here we go on Friday night. There will be some moisture, a little bit of rain south of us, maybe getting as far north as the Kentucky border. Here's 6 a.m. Saturday, and yeah, still there's some possibility of light rain, but now we showed this. I showed this last night of some of the rain may be mixing with a little bit of light snow, where you do have the colder air coming in, and then you have the moisture coming up from the Gulf. Here's the bigger picture. This is a secondary low pressure system over Texas that's going to lift some of that Gulf moisture north as we head into Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. But then on the backside of it, by Sunday morning, it's gone. Cold winds coming in from the north, breezy, and maybe just enough energy off of the Great Lakes with that cold north wind to change some leftover raindrops to snowflakes. But again, this is not going to be any big deal. Not a big deal. You'll be lucky if you see snowflakes out of this. And it's not going to amount to anything. No winter storm. Just no. Here's Monday, chilly, cold wind. Tuesday, high pressure, Arctic high pressure is in control. And then by Wednesday of next week, we're back to a chance of rain because now, look, here goes the high. And so the winds start to come back from the south and west and become breezy. And then we've got another system out west and even up north that's going to approach by the middle of next week and bring us another round of showers and perhaps a few thunderstorms. And yes, we are going to warm up. It is going to get warmer. Now, let's go to the European model where I can present you with a little more detail and hopefully a little more clarity on this system that's approaching. So here's our little showers that are going on or have gone on today and right now over parts of Kentucky. We move those out. Some of this just kind of stays behind because, like I said, there is this active low-level jet that is forcing some of these showers to kind of linger into the overnight hours tonight and into early tomorrow morning. Here is our deep low pressure system scooting across the middle part of the country. This is the one that's going to continue to move through Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, into Indiana, bringing the potential for severe weather tomorrow. Now, here we go. Early Thursday morning, there could be a few showers and a few thunderstorms. Now we get into the afternoon and evening. You see little clusters of thunderstorms, but again, this looks really disorganized. There's just not a whole lot to bank on here. Here we go into this time tomorrow evening. The low pressure system still pretty strong, 994 millibar, and it's going to continue to strengthen as it moves toward the Great Lakes. 993, 991, and now as it gets a little deeper and it taps into that jet energy, which is rolling along here out ahead of the system, then you've got your warm front. You can tell where the warm front is, as that's where you're getting that initial first lift, more elevated type thunderstorms north of that boundary. And then the cold front is more like this. So this will be the setup for later tomorrow evening around this time, and then till about, let's say, 1 o'clock in the morning. So, yes, there could be a few leftover showers, maybe a thunderstorm, but these are going to start to lose their punch. There's a cutoff of moisture on the southern tip of this thing, even though there are some showers painted in here. Some of this may not even be realized. The better setup for this entire system is going to be well to the north of us, and more so in a general area from central Illinois, southern Indiana, and western Ohio. It is in this area that is most likely to see, if you want to call it bad weather or severe weather or whatever, it's going to be there. Not in southern Kentucky. Here we go through the rest of Friday. That low pressure system moves through the Great Lakes. We're still in the warm sector. We get some overrunning Gulf moisture coming in and pushing northward with the next low pressure system, which I showed you is going to be down here in eastern Texas once we get into Saturday. So here we go with Saturday. The moisture lifts north and moves east. Not a big deal there. Now we get into Sunday. Sunday is when you're going to notice that colder air is now starting to move in. And look at all this much colder air that's going to come diving out of southern Canada and into the Ohio Valley. That's when it's going to start to feel chilly. We still could see a record tomorrow, 75, maybe 76 is the record set back in 2018. So that's fairly likely to either tie or break. Then we cool off a little bit on Friday. We get into the 60s, but even more so Saturday into Sunday, we drop into the 50s. Then Sunday, which we're looking at right here, we're going to be only in the 40s. So temperatures are going to plunge with this trough, this dive of Arctic air. Let's go from Sunday afternoon. Look at how far south that dive, that trough, goes all the way down into parts of Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and we're all going to know that it's still winter. But it's not going to last. It's going to be short lived. Here's Sunday. Now, look, here's a little bit of snow. I showed you this on the other map. This is going to be snow with the upper flow here coming out of the north. And when this wind blows across the Great Lakes, where the water can actually be a little warmer, then you get just enough juice to produce snow showers, lake effect snows, and then the upper winds blow some of that lake effect snow down into Ohio, into Kentucky, into West Virginia. Yeah. So we're going to get a little bit of that. It's not going to be that much. Here we go from Monday into next Tuesday. Look how far south this trough. Whew. As this low, look at this thing. I mean, this looks like it could become an offshore nor'easter. 971 millibar. That thing is going to be almost like a hurricane. And look, it's just, well, I said, look at it, and then it goes away. I can fix that. Okay, here we go. It's going to load back in. Well, I thought it was going to. It's not loading all the way, but man, that thing is a monster out there. Monday into Tuesday. So it just updated. So what you saw was an update. Look at this trough. Man, that thing. That's a cold, cold shot of air. And this is on Tuesday. But look out west. Look how warm it's getting out west. Big, big ridge builds out west, and it will begin to move east as we head into the middle of next week. So we'll have a chilly weekend around here, but then look, that blue line moves away. Here comes the warm air by Wednesday, and then we see another system with the warmer air providing the flow and the Gulf opening up once again. Then we have the potential for maybe more rain and thunderstorms by the middle of next week as we warm up. And then all that begins to move east. Now, here's another system that we'll need to watch with potentially another front. This would be next weekend, Friday night into Saturday. And once again, we could have more showers and storms. And then another shot, look at this, another shot of colder air back behind it. Oh, it just keeps going up and it keeps going down. And as you see here, after tomorrow's near record or close to a record, maybe hitting the record high, this is showing 74. When you look through the scan of the rest of these days, the rest of these 10 days after tomorrow, there's no more 70s. We're going to cool down gradually on Friday and a little more on Saturday. But then the colder, if you're going to call it colder air, that's going to arrive Sunday, Monday. You see upper 30s, low 40s, lows in the 20s at night. Then we try to make some moderation into the middle of next week, 40s, 50s, 60s. So again, a chilly weekend, but then we start to moderate as we get back into next week. So it's not going to stay chilly. It's going to be a temporary chill for the upcoming weekend, and then we can hopefully warm back up. And you know, a lot of you are asking about the cold and asking about the threat of severe weather tomorrow, which I'm going to look at with your comments here in just a moment. But when we're talking about shifting from cold to warm and warm to cold, your HVAC system has got to do a lot of work to make all that happen at just the flip of a switch or a turn of the thermostat to make all that happen. Well, R&R Controls for over 40 years have been doing this. Now, you may be somebody you're happy with your system, it's running fine, you change the filters once a month, and you make sure that that thing is purring like a kitten. But there are some folks that after these systems are installed, and especially in a much bigger place than just a home, like a factory or a business that's got maybe more than one HVAC unit or system, there's a lot to keep up with. Well, R&R Controls, that's where the word controls comes in, because they can help you control the climate at your business or your factory or your plant. And we got a lot of them around here. So when you need somebody that knows how to do this and has been doing it for over 40 years, then you need a name you can trust, and R&R Controls is that trusted name. They can come out and assess what you need for your system. All they got to do is look at the units you've got, look at the wear and tear, look at the filter changes, look at how things are flowing through the system, and they can, check compression and all of the things that it takes, heat pumps even. They know how to deal with all those things. So when the weather's changing like this, going up, then going down, then going back up, then coming back down, that is going to take some wear, and that's going to put some wear and tear on your system. So you need somebody to come in, take a look, and know exactly what you need. That's R&R Controls. You can hit them up on their website, rnrcontrols.com or rnrhvac.com, or better yet, call the number 270-777-2024. 270-777-2024. With R&R Controls, you will never be without a system that doesn't work for you. They'll make it right. They'll make it work. Okay, let's get to you guys and what you're asking me. I'm seeing a lot of concerns about tomorrow, like from Ashley. Should we worry about tornadoes for Allen County, surrounding counties? First of all, you should not worry. I really want my audience to change the word worry or fear into concern. You say, well, okay, but what's the difference? Why does that matter? Because I don't want you going around worrying. I don't want you going around fearful of what may happen. I want you to be concerned about what could happen. And concerned enough, if you're concerned, you're more likely to be prepared. If you worry and if you're fearful, you're going to make decisions based on panic. And that's never a good thing. So even when you, like Ashley, I'm not picking on you necessarily, but I want you to think about how you phrase, how most of you phrase things when you ask me, shouldn't I be worried about tomorrow? Should I worry? The answer is no. Do not worry, but more so start your thinking pattern to make it about concern and make it about awareness and preparedness. That's the way to think about it. And I just want you guys to do it more that way than in the typical worry or fear, panic, anxiety. Storm anxiety is a real thing. I lived it when I was a kid, and it took me years and years and years to get away from that. Now I don't worry or fear really of any kind of storm. I stay concerned and I stay aware. And of course, more importantly, I stay prepared. And that's the mindset I want you to get, all of you, especially in this audience. But no, the answer is for, it doesn't matter, Allen County, Warren, Barron, here in Southern Kentucky, there is low end concern. There's not this is not going to be a big deal. It's just not. And it doesn't matter what county you live in around here, it is not going to be a big concern. Okay? So calm your fears and just pay attention. Tomorrow, I'll be around. I'll be on TV. I'll be on social media. I'll be watching it step by step. And then I think most of us are going to look and say, well, he said it was going to go further north, and further north away from us is where some of this is happening. But that's for this system. You know that as we go into the spring, there's going to be more systems, and some of those are going to come right through here. And some of them are going to kick you in the butt. Some of them are going to be strong. Some of them are going to be severe. And this is why I want you to have the mindset of preparedness and concern, but get rid of the worry and the fear. And I know you may be thinking, well, Chris, that's easy for you to say. It's not easy for me to do. And I get that because I was there a long time ago. It's the whole reason why I'm in weather, because of my fear of storms. But if it hadn't been for that, I wouldn't be doing the weather at all. I'd be doing something else. But that fear helped spark my interest and my curiosity in what's going on up there that affects down here. And from that, I developed my interest and love and passion of weather. So I want you too to be educated, just pay attention to the things I say, how I define things, how I explain things. What I'm trying to do is to get you into that mindset of concern, but to get you out of the reactionary fear and anxiety, because you will not make good decisions when it comes time to go to shelter or to take cover or whatever. You won't make a good decision. You'll base it on panic and fear and anxiety, and that's where you get in trouble. You have to base it on common sense, logic, and concern. Those are different things. And I just want everybody to way before we get into the spring storm season, I just want you all to focus there instead of the, tense up and really get, it's muscle memory. I know for a lot of you to just clench up, here comes a storm, it could be bad. Oh, I'm going to peek out the window, or I'm going to go ahead and go to the basement or get in the bathtub and whatever. And then it's not that big of a deal. I hope that you can trust me when I say it's not going to be that big of a deal. It may make some noise and the wind may blow and you may get some tree branches down and maybe something like that. But big tornadoes, an outbreak of, no, it's not even going to be close to that. So, and this is where if I get testy, I get angry, and some of you may think I'm getting a little rude and a little crude when I talk about these things. This is where I go kind of, you know, a little, I don't know. I just get a little worked up. I guess that's the best way to define it. When all the things on social media are trying to get you afraid and anxious and shattered and just you're in a fit. You're just all clenched up because of something you've seen on social media that says it's going to be bad. Red target. You're in the target. Big boom. And it's like just check with me, okay? I'm going to give you the truth, and I just want you to be prepared for when something really bad happens. I would rather know that you took the time to prepare, and then if it missed you, hey, it's okay. If I got it wrong, you're still prepared, and you're ready for the next one. Yeah, that's the way to look at it. Okay. Here's Joyce. Thank you. Don't want to be scared. Well, I don't want you to be scared either. Here's Deanna watching from Ardmore, Alabama. Wow. Well, that's right there on the Tennessee-Alabama border as you're going down 65. I know where that is exactly. Thank you for watching. Let's see. Who else here? Here's Becca and Frank from Litchfield. Thank you for watching. Here is Carl from the Nephis community in Butler County. And then Lori in Adolphus, which is down in southern Allen County, as you're almost to the Tennessee border again. Down as you're going toward Westmoreland, Bethpage, some of those areas. Here is Terry watching from Mud Lick. And then Debbie from Park City. Joy, what time on Thursday? Well, again, this is hard to say. It's going to start at 3 o'clock because it depends on where you are. It could be 2:30 to the west and 3:30 to the east. So, Joy, I don't know where you live, so I cannot give you a time. And even if I knew where you lived, this is not the kind of thing where you go, it's going to hit at 4 o'clock. It's going to be in the afternoon, anytime after 2, 3, or even 4 o'clock in the afternoon until the early evening, 5, 6, 7, until it's gone. Okay. Let's see. Here's Valerie. No snow, please. I'm over it. Well, there was a little bit in the forecast for Saturday night when we get down to about 30. There could be enough leftover moisture for a few snowflakes, but I don't think it's going to be anything more than that. Here's Jerry talking to Anita. Chris, please keep the snow away. All right. I will do what I can. Margie, watching from Ohio County. Well, thank you, Margie. Here's Carolyn watching from Rosine, the home of Bill Monroe. Here is Connie in Edmonton. Thank you. Let's see. Any others? Okay. So I think I've answered most of these questions. And there you go. All right. We're done. Done in 50 minutes. I didn't take as long tonight, which is good. Now, tomorrow morning, I will be on News 40 right there on TV. Okay. 6 a.m. News 40 Sunrise, 9 a.m. News 40 at 9, noontime News 40 at noon. 3 times tomorrow I will be on your TV where you can watch, or all of that's online. All of our newscasts are online. They're on Facebook. Okay. You can go there and watch a replay if you missed it. Then I'll be back here tomorrow evening to do another update, just like I'm doing now, right about the same time. So we got you covered. If anything changes for the worst, then I'll let you know. I'll let you know. In the meantime, sleep well tonight, get plenty of rest, and be ready for tomorrow, even though I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Let's just do what we can to be prepared. In the meantime, thank you for watching 270 Weather. God bless you, and have a good night.